Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Minisode number 129. And on today's Minisode, we are going to talk about 5 quote-unquote sleep hacks I actually use. I put sleep hacks in quotes because I don't love the word hack, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and state the obvious. Sleep is the most boring fitness tip that I could ever give you guys. Everybody knows, whether it's for fitness or well-being or for general health or libido or whatever it could be, sleep is important. Everybody knows they should probably be getting more of it and better quality sleep. So that's a given here, right? You guys all know that you should be sleeping more, sleeping better for better results in everything, right? So what I want to do with these sleep hacks is actually give you some tactical tips, some tactical hacks that I have over the years. Of course, I've accumulated quite a few different ways on trying to quote unquote hack sleep. But these are the ones that I've found that have worked the best for me. And so now they may be able to help you as well. So let's go ahead and jump in. Number 1 is going to be to avoid trying to fall asleep. Whenever I heard that, I don't know who I heard this from, but somebody talked about how it can be very counterintuitive and counterproductive because we're laying there in bed and we're trying to force ourselves. We're trying to force ourselves to fall asleep, but what actually ends up happening is that it only keeps us up longer, right? It creates more anxiety. It makes us think about our thinking, and it makes us think about our lack of sleep, which only further perpetuates our lack of sleep, right? So instead of trying to fall asleep, you just focus on simply relaxing. Right, so it's more of a passive act, I guess you could say. But yeah, whenever I framed it in my mind to not try and fall asleep, it took some of the pressure off of me. And I think that's what we can get in our own heads whenever we're sitting there and we haven't fallen asleep for whatever, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, however long it is. And instead of framing, hey, I'm trying to really fall asleep so that I can wake up early and feel better, instead I'm just like, hey, I'm just trying to relax at this moment. And if that takes me getting up and going into a different room for a second where maybe your sheets are just really warm because you've been laying in them for too long. So maybe you want to go in the other room, maybe open up a book or something, sit on the couch. It's a different environment. And whenever you find yourself nodding off, right, or you find yourself reading and then you're about to fall asleep, well, then maybe you could try and go in the bed again. Maybe your sheets have cooled down a little bit and then you can gradually fall asleep. But some type of shift, because whenever you're laying there and you're ruminating basically in your head, having that shift in environment can kind of help dislodge things and allow you to actually fall asleep, right? So that's the first one. Instead of trying to fall asleep, focus on relaxing. Okay, and then the next one is going to be about caging your monkey mind, right? I think I heard this from Tim Ferriss first, but it talks about the monkey mind refers to the incessant chatter that we constantly have going on our heads, and I think this is one of the main things that people struggle with before bed is they're thinking about all the things that they need to do tomorrow whenever they wake up, right? I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, and so what I would say, instead of just having all that chatter in your head, I would perform a brain dump before bed. I just recommended this to some of my accelerators who are in the Fat Loss Accelerator course. I just made that one of their objectives for last week to perform one of these brain dumps before bed. And I've also used these with one-to-one coaching clients with pretty good success. But the only way that it's very simple. The way that you do it is you have a sheet of paper, you divide that sheet of paper down the middle. On one column, you have tasks, and then on the other one, for the other column at the top, you have thoughts, right? And for tasks are all the tasks that are actually actionable, right? So these are things that you can either do tomorrow, you can do the next day. This isn't as specific as a to-do list and like tomorrow I'm going to do this at 3 p.m. I'm going to do this at 12 p.m. Whatever, right? It's not that specific. It's more so, hey, how can I get these thoughts out of my head and onto paper so that I don't have to think about them anymore? But the tasks are more tangible, right? These are things that you've already thought about. You know you need to do these either tomorrow or the next couple days. And so you would put those in the tasks column. You don't have to prioritize. You don't have to do anything yet. Just dump them all out into tasks. And then on the other side, you have thoughts. These are the more hazy goals or tasks that you need to do. Maybe you're just thinking about certain things. Maybe you're thinking about a certain project or something that you might want to do one day. And this is just where on this side, it could literally be anything, right? Just any type of thought that you have in your head, put it down in that thoughts column so that it could later maybe be moved over to the tasks side of thing. I think it was David Allen who wrote the book Getting Things Done. He was talking about how you shouldn't have the same thought twice unless you enjoy having that thought, right? And that really spoke to me. Of course, the practicality of that is not always true, but I think that the sentiment is valuable because we can sit there and ruminate over the same thing over and over and over and over again. And instead of saying, hey, let me just write this down and then maybe schedule a time to plan out when I'm actually going to get this done, or actually put it down for a time for tomorrow to complete, or at least take the next step on, well, then you don't have to think about that thing over and over and over again. So it's like whatever keeps popping into your head throughout the day, or you think about it every single day, well, that's probably a good idea to write that down so that you don't have to think that thought anymore. So performing a brain dump before bed can be super helpful so that you can actually focus on going to sleep or relaxing instead of the incessant chatter going on in your head, right? And this leads nicely into the third one, and this comes down to self-trust. And I don't remember who I heard this from either, but they said something along the lines of whatever problem it is that you're thinking through in your head while you're laying there on the pillow, you either need to do something about it, you need to act immediately, do something in that moment, or just remember that whenever you wake up, that problem is still going to be there, and there's nothing that you can do in this moment to make or break that decision, right? Like I think it's whenever you decide, you just have to decide like, hey, either I'm going to take action now, or this is something that I'm going to just worry about tomorrow. Whatever you're worrying about now will absolutely still be there whenever you wake up. So there's no reason that current you needs to worry about that. That's a problem for future you, right? And of course, this is where that brain dump can come in, so you can actually have some type of system to figure this type of stuff out. So these go hand in hand really well. But just remember that, whatever problem it is that you're focusing on right now, there's no reason why you won't be able to focus on it with more energy, with more clear-headedness than you are while you're laying there trying to sleep, right? It's just like that thinking is doing nothing for the problem, and it's only making things worse. So remembering that, hey, either do something about it immediately or trust in yourself that you'll take care of it tomorrow, right? I think that trust is a big thing, and that comes from whenever you have things like this, you actually do take care of them. And so that's why I think the brain dump system can be so helpful, because you gain trust in yourself by, hey, I'm thinking about this shit in my head. I put it down on the piece of paper. I figure it out. I solve it. I plan it, and then I do it. And then that builds trust in yourself over time. Right. And then so that way, next time, whenever you have this problem, you have this rumination going on, okay, I'm just going to do this exactly like I did last time. I'm going to put this down on the piece of paper. I'm going to figure it out tomorrow. I'm going to plan it for it. I'm going to solve it and get it done. That's how you build trust over the long term. Right. And I think that is key. That's huge. Okay, the fourth one, this one comes down to actually like an action you can take, and this is one that I like to use. This is more so like my fail-safe, and of course, all of these they're pretty good ideas, and I think they can be better than most things instead of just laying there and wishing that you would fall asleep. But again, this is going to be contextual to the individual. But my go-to method is taking super deep breaths and counting them. Some of you may have heard this, but the way that you do this, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this as much as possible and also demonstrate it. let's see. So in your heads, you start with 1. And so in your head, in your head, you start with 1, and basically you try to count to 10. And what you do is every inhale, you inhale and you say 1, and then you exhale and you say 1. Inhale again and you say 2. Exhale again in your head and you say 2. So it'd be 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, all the way up to 10, right? And then essentially what you do is whenever you find yourself lost in a train of thought and you forget which number you're on, then you have to go back to 1. And what's also super important about this is making you saying this in your head needs to match the length of the inhale and the exhale. So while you're inhaling, so it's how do I do this without, because you can inhale and you can't inhale and then talk at the same time. But basically it's like 1 inhale and then 1 exhale, right? And then 2 inhale, 2 exhale, right? So as long as you're inhaling, you're also going to be thinking 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, right? This is super weird. I didn't think that this would be as weird as it was actually demonstrating this from writing it out. But you get the idea. And the whole point is that whenever you realize, oh shit, I'm thinking about something else and I forgot which number I'm on, then you restart back to 1. But what this does is obviously like it keeps your attention on 1, your breath, but then also counting so that you actually have some type of continuation of thought besides getting distracted by something else. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and you just keep going until you get distracted. And then whenever you do, you restart. I found that to be pretty helpful. And so as far as how long those inhales and exhales go, I think I usually aim for about 4 seconds or so. And then after that, it's just kind of make it natural. You don't have to do that much thinking, right? But just try and make it natural, but just take deep breaths in and out, right? Okay, and the 5th one, this is going to be a supplement. So melatonin is one that many people know. But so I like melatonin and L-theanine. Those are going to be my 2 favorites for sleep supplements. But the thing with melatonin, what people do is they think more is better. So they see the 1 milligram gummies or the 1 milligram tablets, and they think, oh, the 5 milligram gummies are going to be better. And then they see the 10 milligram gummies, and they're like, oh, I'm going to get the 10 milligram melatonin. But actually, research has shown that with lower dosages of melatonin, you can actually get better results and you don't wake up with as much brain fog as you would if you would take the 5 or 10 milligram melatonin. So the idea with melatonin is you want the minimum effective dose to help you with what you're doing. And then you can work your way up. But for the most part, I would never exceed probably 5 milligrams. Honestly, I don't think I would ever exceed even 3 milligrams. For me, I usually take the 1 milligram tablet if I need it. Honestly, I even use this for more so like, hey, am I having trouble falling asleep? Am I somewhere where my sleep is disrupted? So am I at a hotel, not in my bed? Am I at a friend's place or whatever, right? Where sleep isn't as regular? Then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to pop this melatonin to help me fall asleep in this unusual environment. But anywhere from 300 micrograms, so that's 0.3 of 1 milligram. They do have those. So 0.3 milligrams all the way up to about 3 milligrams, I think is going to be the sweet spot for melatonin. But I would just buy the 1 milligrams, start with that and see how you feel from there. And then L-theanine is a amino acid that is found naturally in things like green tea, and it just promotes relaxation. So you pop 200 to 400 milligrams of L-theanine before bed, pair that with some melatonin, pair that with everything else just mentioned, and you'll be sleeping like a baby in no time. All right, and that is 5 sleep hacks I actually use. Thank you guys, as always, for listening and for watching. Sweet dreams. See ya.